What is this? Okay. Hello. Oh, hello, and welcome to Each Sold Separately, Collect Them All, an action figure podcast with me, Colonel Rains Carr, and your friend and mine, Brian Charles Rooney. Welcome back. It has been a very, very long time since we have talked with you or even talked to each other. It seems like a totally different world since the last time we had a conversation. And there's been so much that has happened in the world of toys and so much angst in the world of toys. And I would just like to start out this podcast with an in memoriam section. About the poor, sad, whiny G.I. Joe classified collectors who just couldn't find their Target exclusives, but could easily pre-order it today and yesterday.
I got my troopers.
That you had to wait. Oh my gosh, you had to wait for a figure that everybody wanted. Oh my God, I feel so bad for you.
Oh, stop with your faux empathy with you and your friends, and your Florida and your
I've
plethora of figures.
I've had the Baroness since she came out, but
so have I, but not because I found it.
And of course, this guy here, the Major Blood, who is easy to find, and very super easy. And if you weren't savvy enough to get him on Hasbro Pulse, or you weren't savvy enough to get him from Target.com or at Target, or through these sales, then you are just slow.
Yes, I don't have any sympathy for people who don't have
zero sympathy for you, and now I have zero sympathy for you if you can't get the Baroness, since she was on pre-order all from like 8 o'clock to noon today. Certainly not worried about.
And a Viper.
And a Viper, which I finally got him. I was trying yesterday morning and clicking those buttons and nothing was happening, which everyone had that same experience apparently. And there's the Baroness if you're watching us on video, but if you're on audio, he is playing with his G.I. Joes in front of Castle Grayskull, which is really strange, but that's okay. They can cross that universe. But I did want to just say I'm so now all the whiny cries of G.I. Joe collectors are sadly fading away, and they were easily able to order the next wave that's coming out soon. And I don't feel bad for you at all. Go collect your McFarlane DC figures and leave me alone. Anyways.
Yeah, these are the last two of those I bought, and I'm pretty sure I'm done.
Yeah.
This one's cool looking.
Have they broken yet?
No, but I don't really touch them, so it's not. I'm not the right person to ask. The Grodd, I got Grodd too. He's just up there, and I don't want to go get it, but he's pretty great.
No, there's some really neat sculpts in that line. I just have to break, but they're also not. They're not toys that I want to pull off the shelf and play with.
No, they're really hard to.
All these ones behind me,
move around.
I want to play with those. Those aren't the ones I see at the store. Look cool, but they're just like for statue collectors, which is what McFarlane Toys has always been.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the truth. They're not fun to maneuver, and they tend to lose the grip, the stability if you have them in one position too long, and then it's kind of, well, you ran out of that one, so pick another one, and eventually you won't be able to stand them at all. It's that's they
how
occasionally
McFarlane
fall.
Toys has kind of always been. That's why any McFarlane stuff I have, like my Walking Dead or any of that, I just don't even touch them.
No, don't.
Because they barely can stand, and I just don't even. If I breathe near them, they fall over. But who cares about that? Let's talk about you. What's going on? It's been a very long time since we chatted. So much has happened. Why don't you give us an update on what's going on with you, and I'll give you my update.
Yes.
Since the last time we talked, a lot of stuff has happened. So, what's going on with you?
Well, the toy room is still not finished, but that's okay. I mean, it's sort of finished. I just have, real life going on. I'm theaters sort of opening back up. Not really. I mean, they're saying they are, but
I'm fighting with equity right now. So it's pulling teeth to get something going right now.
I mean, I've lost 2 job opportunities. One that's very specific to this milieu. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it, which is really stupid and sounds fake and
that's most things in the professional world.
I can't talk about it, but it has to do with a very important figure who gave this really cool TED talk maybe last year or year before. He had a great deal to do with the genesis of the Batman Burton films happening. He worked on the Batman comic prior to that as a writer, and It's probably saying too much already, but it's this. They turned this TED Talk into a play, and it's
Okay.
him and then all these other people that he's met through his life. And I've actually done a show like that where I played somebody and then had to be all the
Yeah.
other people as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so the company manager messaged me, was like, you just did that musical. It was a musical of one character telling his story, and then he said, and you were obviously very involved in this, in pop culture, toys, comics, all that. He's like, would you be interested in doing this Zoom reading? We're going to have you play this person and all the other people, and then we're going to have it where he's reading himself and you're playing all the other people, and because we kind of think you would be better doing all of it. And I'm thinking to myself,
Right.
sure. And then when I read it,
Yes.
I was like, I don't know that I need to memorize all of this,
Yeah.
because he's charming and interesting. And after we read it, I thought, you could do this. Like, if you're playing yourself and you're honest, you'd be okay.
Yeah.
But we did a Zoom reading, which is a contract now.
Oh, yeah.
And then, because, SAG and Equity were both like, oh, we're going to get on your computer with you and make you, make sure you're protected. Like, protected from what?
Yeah.
During a pandemic. Okay. And then they wanted to do a reading, a public reading, a staged reading of it in New York, and then in LA. And so they, contacted the union and never heard back. And then they finally did hear back and said, we don't have an answer for you. And then it was the following week. And so they're like, well, we're using a non-equity person. We don't see that being, forever. He's like, and he said, we'll try to get the contract for Los Angeles for later in the year. And I'm thinking, yeah, I guess that's probably okay. It'll happen, but maybe not, because who knows what's going to be happening in different areas of the country in a couple of months.
That's very true.
So, it was a job lost, and it would have been a nice thing to kind of secure, because when you are asked to do something new, if you're not a commercial star, you have to show why you're valuable, which I did in the Zoom reading. But if somebody else comes in and, it's,
I know.
It's a good day for them, whatever.
No, I've been fighting with Equity for weeks now, trying to employ 3 friends of mine that are actors and educators for my Sam Shepard Theater Festival.
Yes.
And they are just giving me such a hard time. And I'm like, I'm trying to employ people at an education. It's at an educational institution. It's an educational festival.
Yeah.
That's the whole basis of the mission statement, is educational. And all of the people participating that are Equity are professors and educators, and I'm like, you can't let me employ these people because of they're renting their own space, yet I have to go in and make sure they have the correct COVID-19 filter in a home that I don't own or operate.
Right.
It is a rule that is like, get out of town.
Right.
You are keeping people from making money. Like, I'm trying to pay people money, and they don't need the money, and it's not a lot of money, but I'm trying to pay them their rate,
sure,
as best I can.
Well, I don't need the money thing is kind of that's like a knee-jerk thing that we are trained.
But they need the money, but it's not their primary job.
But it's an interesting point, because we've been conditioned, because of the way our union functions, at least in the last 10 to 12 years, we've been kind of conditioned to say things like that.
Right.
Nobody says that.
No.
Like, nobody thinks that when they're working for stuff, hard. Like, oh, it's okay, no, it's not okay. and sometimes you want to do a favor for a friend, and that's different, but it's,
But no, people need to be paid for what they do, and it's making me mad that I can't pay people even using using their guidelines almost to the exact T. I still can't do it. But this is an action figure podcast, so we won't worry about that.
Yes.
That's for our acting theater podcast. What else is going on? So what else is going on with you? What's going on with you since of this year?
What else is going on? I mean, I have like a ton of new things.
We'll talk about that.
That's like at least a year's worth of episodes right there for like what we haven't covered.
I know. I'm looking at them right now.
What else is going on that's really interesting? I mean, I've been going back and forth from Nashville to New York, and
awesome.
I've been done a bunch of concerts. I did a play. It was the first live production in New York since COVID. which
Oh,
was
nice.
really exciting. Yeah, bunch of Broadway people did a classic version of like a classic verse version of Clue, which sounds like a terrible idea, but was not in practice and was really fun. Um, and I have plans to go to PowerCon in September, which I'm really excited
They
about.
actually are going to hold it.
Yeah, I mean,
Sweet.
as long as nothing happens, it's
Sure. Yeah.
limited, I think,
It
to
happens.
5,000 attendees, which
5,000 people go to that thing?
I guess there were more last year.
More than
Because
5,000 at PowerCon?
yeah, the first few
Wow.
years, no, but last year
Yeah, I was
it
going to
was
say
in this,
last time I went was about 10 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe.
right.
And it was, 500 people, 1,000
Yeah,
people.
I mean, I think the
Yeah.
first two or three had,
Yeah.
500 for the first two, and then maybe up to
Yeah.
like 1,200 the third time, and then
Yeah.
they took a break, and then it started growing pretty fiercely after that. Last year, it felt like, oh, I'm not going to be able to, I'm not going to recognize and or encounter or engage with everyone here this time
Yeah.
in some capacity,
Right.
which was good and bad.
Yeah.
Um, what else has gone on?
I don't know.
My son is turning 6 on the 29th.
Whoa. Did you get him that present that you wanted to get him?
The castle, yes.
Yes, Castle
Um,
Grayskull, the
yeah.
Origins Castle Grayskull. Brian Charles Rooney was fretting trying to find one, and he finally was
And
able to
then they
get
had
one
it
for
online, which was
himself first, of
shockingly
course,
convenient.
and then his son. Yes.
Which is it's a great castle. I think it's really
I
well
love it.
produced.
It makes me want to throw the old one from the original series away, like throw it in the trash can. Because I really do hate the old figures.
Oh
Like
my
I've told you many times, the Origins figures are the figures that I always wanted.
God. Right.
Even the classics were fun, and I collected about 100 of them and
Hmm.
then sold them because those weren't really the He-Man figures I wanted. The ones I wanted are the Origins ones.
Right. No,
Um,
I get that.
Even as a
I
kid, this is what I would have wanted the Origins figure or the original figures to be.
I like and will take everything. So
I
like easy to please. I will
yes.
say that the classics ones or the vintage originals I think have slightly better aesthetics. Although I do like the Origins one, bright colors,
Yeah.
um, the repaints that are happening, that's a lot of fun for me. I know a lot of people don't like repaints. I do because they're significant. They're usually based on some sort of storyline or,
Yep.
rare appearance or something. So I like that.
Oh, I like as many variants of anything as it possible
Yeah.
at
I
all.
mean, that's fun. So like, there's this new Evelyn that just came out and she's clearly based on the
Yes.
2000 line one, but I want the combination of the two. I want, um, this blue color outfit,
Yes,
light
and
blue, dark blue,
the yellow Evelyn mixed with
and
dark.
the
Mm-hmm.
and more less dead color than this, but
Right. She looks like the newer one looks like a zombie
a bit,
from
yeah.
that 2000s line. I
But
remember
yeah,
thinking
that's what
about
I
that when
want.
those came out. Yeah, oh yeah, no, I mean that's what I always wanted was the Origins, and so I did. Don't tell my wife I did get Castle Grayskull. Don't know if she's seen it yet, but it's sitting
She
behind
doesn't
me.
know. It's behind
She
you on the shelf.
we have had a lot going on. So
Why?
I started a new job. I'm a theater director at a college in West Florida, and we bought a house
Yes, you
for the first
did.
time
Very
ever,
nice.
which is it's a very cool old house. It's 101 years old, so it's in this cool historic part of the downtown area where we live, and I've got a toy room, of course. If you're watching the video, you can see it. I'm still unpacking it as we speak. The previous owner had it as a bar, and so there's a really cool disco light that turns on in here and stuff. That's pretty hilarious.
That was the first thing I
Um,
responded to when your wife showed me the pictures. I was like,
yes.
what is this? I
What
said, was
is
this
this
a frat
disco light?
house?
It is
'Cause-
kind of like that. And there was a keg refrigerator in here that I still have that he left, and
That's cool, actually.
I don't really drink very much, so it would never be something I would use. So I'm going to give it to
Right.
somebody that may use it more often. But the biggest thing that happened to us is we had a child
Yes.
who will be
He's so
seven
cute.
seven
Oh
month
my
7 months
God.
old in about a week. He'll be 7 months old, and he is exceedingly lovely and beautiful and hilarious. And he's the sweetest little boy, and he's lovely, and he loved the disco lights in this toy room. Um,
Yes.
but we have been quite busy with him, particularly my wife, breastfeeding and all, and things like that.
Right.
And we both work. She is the head learning coach at a special needs school, and so we're both very busy and have a small child, and so that's one of the reasons we haven't talked to you in a long, 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 long time on this podcast. The other one was
most
no,
people
go ahead. Yeah.
can forgive that.
Yeah. So I mean, the other one is I know you and I had talked about this. Is it just didn't feel like a time to talk about toys. To me, the last
Yeah.
year has felt like let's focus on more important things in the world. And mine was, helping kids learn theater with, teach acting with masks on, and how do they navigate a world of social
Right.
distance, vaccines, and continuing education in a world that has been shut down in their art form, and much less helping people and doing things, and people that have issues going on that they couldn't leave and go places, and that it never felt like to me like, oh golly gee whiz, toys are so great. In the main,
even the last few that we did became
Yeah.
about greater issues.
Yes, they're got a little maudlin there towards the end, and that's okay.
I found them inspiring, but whatever. Maudlin.
I enjoyed them as well, but after
Kidding.
a little while of doing those last couple, I was like, this is not. There were a
Yeah.
few more important things in life, but that doesn't mean I haven't been going to look for toys every day, and it doesn't mean that I haven't bought a million toys, and it doesn't mean that we're not going to talk about toys. So what I'd love to catch up with you on, since this is sort of our catch-up episode, since there's no Comic-Con and there's no there's going to be little teeny online cons and things. And there's all kinds of little toy news, but you've already read it. If you're a toy person that's listening to this, you've already read the toy news. I'm not worried about that. Tell me what you've gotten. What have you gotten?
Oh my God.
In the last, this year. Let's go 2021. What have you gotten recently, or stuff that's excited you over the last 6 months or so?
I don't remember I don't understand time right now, really, still. Right. So, I mean, I'm starting to, because I have dates for things to go do. Like, you have to be in New York for this date and do a show. And I'm like, what time is that? And does it have to be at that time? Like, those are not things I ask, but they're thoughts in my head because time has become so weirdly flexible, which is not bad, to be honest. What have I? Oh my God. I mean, well, I got this today.
What is that? Because I'm listening to this, I'm not watching the video. So
yes, I'm thinking because we do video that even the people listening.
Most people listen to it; they don't watch the video.
Well, it's backwards because
he got the Masters of the Universe Origins Wind Raider.
Yes, from Big Bad Toy Store, which has been my main source, other than my friend, you're and my friend Ricky, who lives in Pittsburgh, where apparently toys rain down from heaven and are always available. Right. I mean, he got me the Baroness, he got me Lady J and Flint, he got me basically everything. So I would say that I have all of the Origins figures. I think that have been released up to this point.
You got all the different cover commanders, all the.
Oh no, that's I mean Masters of the Universe.
Masters of the Universe.
G.I. Joe Classified. I've Major Blood, Flint, Lady J, Zartan.
Yeah, those are the newer ones. You have the Cobra Trooper, the new Cobra Trooper.
Yes, and one. Today I finally, because I don't have any of the first version,
right?
I finally was able to order 2 of those and a Viper, which happened to show up.
If they were one per person, morning, how could you order 2?
Because I did 2 orders. I did an order. No, and this was not unethical. Honestly, the first order was last night. When I read online, and it was a post you commented on, and I literally wrote, what the fuck? I missed this, and I'm always missing all this crap, and I know everybody, and no one told me that this was even happening. Like, I have a Pulse membership. I'm on all the G.I. Joe groups. I had no clue that this new kind of like, here, fruits from heaven. Here are all the things you missed. No idea. I just happened to see the post because you had commented on it, and it came up.
Okay.
Right. So I go in there and I'm like, I click over to Target, and the only thing they had was the Trooper.
Yep.
So of course I got it, and then I got Grouch Couch, the game, for Christian for his birthday, to make it the shipping free.
Yes.
He's not here. Right. Well, he's here, but he's not even here. So that was free shipping. And then this morning I checked again just to see if the Viper was there, because it wasn't even listed last night.
No,
I couldn't find
yesterday you couldn't get it. Yeah, you couldn't get it.
and then this morning it was available, and so I was like, I want free shipping again, so I picked another trooper, and so I get like it's nice that they're doing one per order, but it's not one
Right. I
per
mean,
person.
Hasbro Pulse does the same, but you can do multiple orders and order a million of them. I mean, it's not like it's impossible to do if you know how to game that system a little bit. And they're troopers. I mean, I've only had one Viper since it came out, and I've been dying for at least one more Viper. I don't need a million Vipers. I'd rather have a million Cobra Troopers, which I do have a bunch of Cobra Troopers.
Yeah, the specialty troopers to me can be more of a singular character.
Like it's one or two. Yeah,
Right.
it's one or two of them because they're specialty. It's like the Red Ninja. It's like I only need maybe a couple of those because I like the Marvel Legends Red Ninja better.
Well, and the original one to me was always its own character. I never.
Yes.
It was not a trooper to me.
Exactly. And that's why those kind of things don't bother me. But like Cobra Trooper, I may have 4 or 5 of the Cobra Island one, and I may have 6 or 7 of the other one.
4 or 5. Fuck you.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them over there.
4 or 5. All right, so
5 Cobra Island ones.
the getting those finally, and then I also have this monstrosity that's a nightmare, and I hate. I want to tear it apart.
What is it?
It's Jean Grey, like the Marvel Girl version of Jean Grey from the recent House of X Marvel Legends wave. And the thing that is wrong is that she's fantastic from the skirt down, but then you realize that she has stumpy child legs, and the rest of her body is supposed to be the regular size legs. And
her arms look huge compared to her legs.
It's just stupid. I'm like, who planned this?
I know she's supposed to be a smaller, younger.
No, she's not.
Herself. Is she not?
Well, I mean,
she was supposed to be a slightly younger version.
Originally, yeah, but then make her that with that hairstyle, because this is the House of X version.
Yeah.
I mean, I use it for the younger version.
That's what I do too.
Like a House of X section.
Mm.
The Moira McTaggart figure is fantastic. That was
absolutely love her. Been dying for that figure. I think my entire life I've been waiting for a Moira McTaggart figure since I was a kid reading those Chris Claremont X-Men's. She was such a main character.
Right.
The fact that they've never made a toy of her has always pissed me off. It's like
it's strange.
It's like Rick Jones. They've never made a Rick Jones ever. I'm like, he's so important to the Marvel Universe, with Captain America and the Hulk and all this, and they've never made a Rick Jones ever, except for him as the whatever his new character is, where he's the blue Hulk thing.
Right. I'm sure they'll find a way.
They've never made him. I'm like, how have they? I mean, he's the person that the Hulk saves and gets gamma blasted. I mean, he was hanging out. He was like one of the assistants to Captain America, and I'm like, come on, he's a big character in the Marvel Universe for a long time.
Not bigger than White Rabbit.
About 1,000 times bigger than White Rabbit.
I'm kidding.
But,
I'm just saying that, like, the fact that we have
cooler.
her means we probably will end up getting him.
I
would
hope
imagine.
that we do one of these days. And there's old classic-y looking Iron Man that you gotta have him as well.
This is the AI version where I took the little blue thing out and painted it with I forget, Krylon, I think, spray paint, which works really well on this type of plastic, and then gave him the head, Tony Stark head, and his little.
So what's your? So
and these are the new Hasbro Pulse stands.
Those are the new stands, which are really cool. I got the one that came with Black Widow.
Yeah.
So you are up. No, sorry. Go ahead.
They're okay. I mean, I have a few where I have them like displayed, where like Silver Surfer is kind of out of the way. I don't know if you can kind of see down here.
I can. People listening can't see it.
Right. Yes. I've got Fantastic Four here, and I have a reason for that. Because the guy that, well, I'll talk about that later. So you have them. They have a base, a square base, square base, and they have 9. There are 9 sockets, and you can put the post into one of the sockets. There's also foot pegs on it for I think 2. And so you can put a figure crouching, dancing, jumping, or like kneeling, whatever it is, on the base. And then you have the post, which goes up and down. Not high enough, in my opinion.
No, for nice like to be a Angel higher. Or Archangel, it's not great for that one. I use a higher for that one.
And then there's a piece that you put onto the post that has an extension and then the clamp. And it fits around their waist or whatever part of the body you want it. You can fit it around. And I feel like that rotates clockwise, counterclockwise, but it doesn't rotate up.
Yeah.
Which is also a problem. The best arrangement I have found is Storm and Wolverine. Like that's kind of the most iconic, and I'll put a picture of it on the Instagram. But it's, if I haven't already, I think I may have already. But that's, I mean, so they're pretty stable, ish.
I find it needlessly like chunky. It's like just too it's bulky. It's very bulky.
Yeah.
So it's like I've got 550 Marvel Legends behind me right now. I don't have room for that stand.
Yeah, especially when it
big.
doesn't go high enough.
Yeah.
You know, because you can have others kneeling on it or bent leg, foot on the edge, but with the post the way it is, it's not
great. I mean, if I only collected Marvel Legends, my whole toy room was, 5 Marvel Legends to a shelf hanging out.
Sure.
Okay, sure, great. But I mean, those of us that collect more than one line, that's impossible. I mean, it's impossible.
They're too big.
And I'd have to get my entire house.
What's wrong with that? Now you have the space.
That doesn't bother me. We actually do have the space, but but I'm trying to be nice and keep my toys in the toy room. For now. Trying to be nice to my wife so we can decorate the rooms and however else we see fit. So you are updated on Origins.
Yes.
You've got Faker. You got the new wave with Fisto and Faker, and you and Fisto. Faker, I'm sure we'll have a great time later tonight.
And Mermaid.
Yes. You and Fisto playing. You guys should have a great time later tonight.
Yeah.
And no. I mean, playing like with that Castle Grayskull behind you because he'll look really cool in front of it.
But that's the classics version, which is now old news.
That thing is. Who cares? I mean, it's still incredible, and I'm sad.
I have my Snake Mountain that I've been like enjoying with the Origins actually because it's almost more epic with them. Mm-hmm. And the Land Shark, the Sky Sled, the Wind Raider now, and there's another. Battle Cat and Panther. So yeah, I mean, having those things. Christian doesn't have his castle yet because he's getting it for his birthday. He's been using the Funko Savage World Batcave and thinks it's great, loves it. And I keep saying you can use that as like the Fright Zone or Horror Hall, which was Shadow Weaver's hangout. Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, it's Grayskull. I'm like, okay, it doesn't have a drawbridge and it doesn't.
He can do what he wants.
No, he can't.
So you're updated on Origins. You're updated on Classified. What else? Marvel Turtles. Legends. What? Super 7 Turtles. You're updated on. Did you? So, I guess we can get into this real quick while we're talking. Silverhawks.
Yeah.
What did you think of those Silverhawks?
I think they look great. I know they're going more towards cartoon style.
Would you have rather them emulated the old toys?
I would have liked a mishmash. And I think from what I've heard, we're getting more of the like Voltron, the second version of Voltron that they released. They had those Voltron Ultimates figures.
Yes.
And it's curious that they did another version. They said it was to improve articulation, but I think it was a test to see if that metallic paint would work.
Right.
And it did really well. It looks really good. And so I think that's probably what we're going to get.
Okay.
Some version of that. And then, eventually, if it's something they can arrange, because apparently vac metal is just, for every company, it's like impossible.
They can't do it anymore. They used to do it all the time in the 80s and 90s. And now you just can't do it at all. It's just, you can't.
I get it. Super 7 did that 5.5-inch hero figure, and it looks fantastic, and it's actually pretty durable. But there's no articulation. There's just, classics kind of, or not classics, classic, 5 points of articulation for the most part, or six. So it's not like you're going to be scratching it up. But I would like to see, the partly metal component.
Well, don't you think that the whole point of it, if I was the boss, old Brian over there, if I was the boss, I'd go, let's release cartoon versions first, vac metalized versions second, so that we can sell the figures twice. That's
what it always is like. That's why we're getting, Scarlet and G.I. Joe Classified and 19 different versions because
so we have
they want
3 roadblocks in Classified, 3 different roadblocks now in Classifieds. It's like, okay.
Well, and now we're getting the one everyone wants, which is exciting.
There you go. Well, I mean, that's the third one, yeah. So, and then we have 3 Cobra Commanders. I have
4th. It's the 4th.
Destros. Hold on. Fourth? Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It is the fourth. There's the redeco one, and then
Right.
the brand new one that looks like the original.
Mm-hmm.
4 roadblocks. Did I need 4 roadblocks? I mean, I don't own any of the repaints. Because I was like, I'm not buying these figures again.
I agree. I'm not
I don't
doing that
need
anymore.
repaints. I used to do that. I'm not doing that anymore. I
I
bought my figure.
canceled
I'm not
I
buying it again.
canceled my Sandman from Hasbro Pulse today because I had bought the GI Joe stuff and I was like, how can I make myself feel better and spending money? So I canceled that and a couple other things, but I was like purely because I bought it thinking, oh, this will be nice to have in quote unquote correct scale, but I kind of like the bigger version that I have better.
I like the Marvel Select version's really cool, and I still like the old Toy Biz version is really nice.
Right.
That one actually has like little holes, like they've been poked in him, like it's sand seeping through. And it's really
that's
great,
cool.
incredible sculpt. I mean, the old articulation, but it's got a really neat sculpt. Did you get those? Did you pre-order those Silverhawks for $250 for 4 figures?
No, I just Quicksilver and what's her face. But I didn't know that property well enough, so they're going to be kind of
watched
featured.
the show, but I never owned the toys, and
Me neither.
I always wanted to, and I've actually the only one I've ever owned is the rare one, the Quicksilver or whatever the variant Quicksilver is.
Oh,
That's the
I didn't even know
only
there was
figure
one.
of that because I was like, maybe I'll collect this because that's back in the early 2000s when I was doing a lot of vintage collecting, and I was like, well, I might start Silverhawks because there's a couple of hard pieces.
Right.
But I mean, nothing else was that hard at the time, and it's still really not that hard to find them. But I never collected them as a kid. I did watch the cartoon. I did think they were cool. I think I didn't collect them because I hated the articulation. That Kenner 5 points articulation crap. I hated the articulation because GI Joes were so nice at the time.
Right.
I
think my decision was made for me. Like
all they did was this.
Right. Yes.
All they did was lift their arms and could set them down.
This is terrible.
And so they're just standing on your shelf like their wings, and they just looked really stupid. Though they were cool looking figures.
Yeah.
I never liked the way their little animals looked.
Oh, that used to, yeah. My neighbor had a bunch of them, and so that's how I was familiar with them. And I wanted to steal Copper Kid because I just thought it was cool. Oh yeah,
and that is a cool figure.
I don't know why, but like Nugget from Rock Lords was also a huge favorite of mine, and they're kind of similar color scheme. And I don't know. I'm not like a huge gold fan, so I don't really know why. Maybe I was as a child, and I'm not now.
Maybe.
But yeah, I'll get like when they do Copper Kid, I'll order him. I'll probably get the 5.
Yeah, I always thought the villains were in the vintage line anyway. The villains were better looking than the Silverhawks themselves.
Right.
They just are too expensive.
They're way too expensive.
The Ultimates, I don't have any Super 7 Ultimates at all because they're just too expensive, and they teased GI Joe Ultimates today.
They did. I knew. I heard that it was coming. That and Reaction, but
I don't know what that means.
Right.
And that might be.
I think
here's the thing: like even
Sunbow cartoon versions.
Oh God, that would be death. But the like the Mezco GI Joes that they've showed, the Destro and the Roadblock. I'm like, I don't really need them, even though GI Joes are my all-time favorite properties. I don't really need everything.
Well, there's too much. There's too much. I mean, you talked about how we're golden age of toys. It's true. God, yes. I mean, right now
it's a glut.
There is so much product in every single property.
It's unbelievable. Like, how many different Ninja Turtle lines do we need? How many times can you buy the same characters over and over and over? I mean, you have He-Man in a million different versions, and I guess Turtle people, they love it, and that's their thing. I have a few Turtle things,
but that's even more exaggerated. Like the amount of Turtle lines is crazy.
I mean,
it's completely insane.
I'm like, I know that was a big property, and a lot of people are into it, and I think that's a crossover property where people that don't collect action figures can collect that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But still, I mean, holy cow, jeez Louise. Like this month is apparently Seinfeld month. Like Funko's releasing all this Seinfeld properties, and Lego's releasing Jerry's Apartment this month, and if you're a Seinfeld fan like myself, I mean, that kind of thing is exciting, but it's like, how many do I need? Like, all I got from those is I pre-ordered. They have Funko made like little tiny minifigures that are like 1 inch tall.
Right.
And they each come with a section of Jerry's Apartment. And so if you collect 6 of them, I'm a sucker for play sets, right? So you collect 6 of them, you can build Jerry's little mini 3 inch tall apartment.
See, that's nice when there's a smaller,
and they're $7.99 a figure. They're $7.99. So the whole thing is only costing me like $45.
That's nice.
$50. And then the Lego apartment's $79.99, right? But do I need 500 versions of all the other Funko Pops and all that junk? I don't think I do.
I don't know.
Even though it's a property I really like. Like, do I? Well, I mean, but Masters Universe is literally your thing.
That's true. I mean, that's the only property I really do that with. Masters
Yeah, and
Universe, anything He-Man and She-Ra, I kind of go nuts.
Yeah,
Although I'm starting to not.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am. I don't really go nut. Even Marvel, I only collect Legends. I don't collect anything else.
Right. I mean,
G.I. Joe, I only collect the little one, the main lines. That's it.
What am I not collect? There's something Masters of the Universe that I'm not doing.
They make so many little minifigures and all the nonsense.
I'm doing them too, and I'm doing the Mega Constructs for now. But I'm kind of like, it's just a lot. Like they're probably going to do Snake Mountain Mega Constructs, so it's going to be super expensive, and I don't know that I have the money. Well,
that's the main thing is how much money. Even if I made a ton of money, I still feel like, do I really need all of it?
Right, that's the thing. No, that's the thing. Do we need any of those things? No.
Well, we don't. Certainly not. I mean, we certainly don't need any of it. But I mean, do I really need? I'd still rather just collect my main lines and some vintage stuff. I mean,
right.
Or collect more Legos because Legos are expensive. Legos are fun.
And how interactive, that's the other thing. Like now part of the reason I haven't finished the room is because I've been going through a lot of things and selling stuff, because people are looking for older things or not even older things, kind of like early 2000s things, which is interesting. And I'm thinking, no, I don't need this anymore. And, if it covers the cost of something else, like Ninja Turtles and Thundercats,
Ultimates,
$8 billion, then or the Alice in Wonderland Ultimates from Disney, because that's the I'm super cherry picking, but I was like, Alice in Wonderland figures are coming home to me. There's no question.
I mean, even the Disney Ultimates I didn't order, and I'm a huge Disney fan.
That surprises me a lot.
$55 a figure just not happening right now. I mean, it's
disgusting.
just even with a son. I mean, he's not like he's super expensive or anything, but still, it's just like
get a job.
Well, with 120 Marvel Legend figures coming out a year, plus now all these classifieds figures, and I'm collecting the Jurassic Park Amber collection and Legacy collection lines of only of the original movies. But I mean, here's John Hammond. He's one of my newer figures. But there's only so much. And I used to collect literally everything when you could collect everything. Back in the early 2000s when I could get everything.
But there was less stuff and it was less expensive.
There was a lot less and it was a lot cheap. My Simpsons figures were like $7, $6.99.
Oh my God.
And Marvel Legends were like $7.99. Most of my Toy Biz collection was $7.99 to $9.99. $9.99 if you went to like KB or a specialty store. You could collect that stuff now. Or my Star Trek, like in the 90s. I was a college kid in the 90s and had a huge 90s toy collection because those toys were so cheap. I could buy a whole wave for like $30. And I collected Playmates Star Trek and all of the Toy Biz Marvel, and I collected Spawn, and I collected, oh my God, I collected all kinds of miscellaneous weird lines like Flash Gordon and all kinds of weird crap.
Wildcats?
I collected a little bit of that, and, but they were so cheap.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. The cost now, and the fact that a lot of these things are scalped by people. So then if you can't find it, you have to, you don't have to, but you may be tempted to buy something for more than you should.
But I mean, I've always done that for something I couldn't find.
Sure.
I bought that. I did that for Spawn
now.
Figures back in the day and Star Trek figures back in the day. I mean, I did that back in the day too.
I mean, yeah, but that was like one figure,
maybe one figure in the line, the hard to find.
Yeah, I mean that,
like,
and
the Toy Biz Iceman, the variant one that was harder to find, and the variant Silver Surfer repaint Human Torch from the Toy Biz line. Like I had to trade and pay extra for those because they were hard to find. I couldn't find them.
You had to buy them. They were $50.
They were probably. I think I paid $30, but even back then, that was a lot of money.
This is I'm playing with, for people who maybe you're not hearing. Where's the mic? So you can hear it. It's Clamp Champ's Clamp from Origins.
From the deluxe figure. That's the one I haven't been able to find in person. Is Ram Man.
Oh yeah, he's great. He's not like the original. Like you push him down, and he stays that way. and then you
Okay.
push down again and he bounces
Oh,
up.
really? Weird.
So,
Okay, that's a
but the
little
legs are
complicated.
articulated.
Yeah, sort of.
And I don't remember as a kid, I liked Ram Man a lot. He was a favorite.
I loved him
I
too.
rarely used the action feature. Like
Oh, I
maybe
used it all the time. I love that action feature.
maybe, but I would also do it myself. Like I'd be like boing, boing, boing,
Right.
because that's what he did in the
Right.
cartoon. I didn't
Oh yeah.
bother with the foot thing. So this is no different in that respect, but it does feel a little different. Like it's not the same. But you can make him shorter, so that's
Yeah,
kind
he's
of nice.
definitely one I want to get. I don't need to order him. If I find him at the store, I'll get
You
him. Like
will.
I'm cherry picking Origins line. I only got about 6, 7 figures from that line right now, but I got Orko, of course, because he's the greatest Orko that's ever been made. And
He's fantastic.
the world's greatest Orko is from the Origins line. If you don't have him, go order him now if you can. But he was pretty tough to come by for a little bit. But yeah, I have been keeping updated with Marvel Legends. I've got all the up through the Villains Wave, which is the only thing I've been able to find.
I have Deathstrike, Arcade, and then I think are Ultron and Red Skull from the next wave?
No, Red Skull's in the Villains Wave, Ultron's in the Iron Man Wave. That's the next one. That should be hitting any moment now.
Those are the next 4 that I have on pre-order, and I've been kind of slow with them because I'm not collecting the movie figures, and I'm not,
Right.
and there've been some figures that I just don't know. But you have all of them.
I do still cherry pick, but I mean, by cherry pick, I mean I still collect 95% of the figures in a given year.
No, that's been
there's 5% of repaints or other ones or different characters that are just like I really don't need that character or whatever that may be.
Right.
Or it's just some dumb version of something that I don't need. Like I don't buy all the Spider-Man versions if it's a version that I don't care about.
Right.
I don't buy all the game versions and all that junk. I don't need to, like, even the new She-Hulk that's the green version with the new head. I'm like, do I need that She-Hulk? So I waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. Well, I got her, of course. I mean, she's sitting right behind me right now. My giant fat head's in the way. If you're watching the video, you can see her right behind me.
See her right there.
She's right in the middle. But I mean, I ended up seeing it in person. I was like, okay, yeah, I do want her.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I ordered her begrudgingly, even though I love the character and I had the gray version,
too. I'm a
which
huge
is a
fan.
fantastic figure. I mean,
I
really
love
great.
the figure. Mm-hmm.
And especially if I pose her with that Hulk we love, that I think is like the greatest Marvel Legends figure ever made.
It really is.
And they look nice because they're not both the same color. Like, it looks cool. But I love this. She came in my Big Bad Toy Store loot box today as well, and I was like, yeah, I'm glad I have this.
No, she's really fun and exciting, and I am updated. I got the Villains Wave, except for, that's a good example, is I got the Villains Wave, so I could do the build a figure, of course, but I didn't have to get Doctor Doom, so they thankfully didn't make me buy that Doctor Doom because there's no build a figure piece there.
But the accessory reference, like, that is...
Oh, the accessory is great.
It's almost worth buying that figure just because of that scene.
If he goes on clearance, that would be great. But
it's such a great moment. My God.
I don't need that figure, and so I got the other 6 because those are 6 awesome characters I was excited to get. The Build-A-Figure is really fun. Zemu, however you say his name, what a fun old character. The big furry white guy. I mean, he's such a fun character.
I was thinking
one of those old '70s Hulk villains that were like
Hyde,
super cheesy. That was the previous wave. That was the Shang-Chi wave.
Right.
Which was a great wave too. I can't wait to see that movie, and I already have all the figures, so it's be fun to get them all. But luckily there's an Eternals wave coming out, which I don't think I need those figures. They look terrible.
They're so bad.
They look horrible. But the Iron Man wave and the Fantastic Four wave and the next Spider-Man retro wave, and I'm gonna need all those before the end of the year.
That Fantastic Four wave,
can't wait.
I'm super excited. What do you think are the other 2?
It's supposed to be Psycho Man and High Evolutionary.
Oh.
Which they had made in the old Toy Biz. Did they make High Evolutionary? They definitely made Psycho Man. It's supposed to be those guys, I think, which would be great.
Do you think they'll make the Sun?
Franklin?
Yeah.
I hope that he's an accessory, maybe. Like he was that Toy Biz box set, because I still use my Toy Biz Franklin at the front of my display at my Fantastic Four display. Still using that one. from
I
way
mean,
back when.
if they don't release them in this way, that they're kind of running out of options.
Yeah, I don't know when they're going to get to him, unless they do a Fantastic Four movie and he comes as an accessory or something in one of those, or as a 2-pack maybe.
Yeah.
With somebody else, or a specialty retailer pack or something like that, or
Or
a
with
Comic-Con.
a non-flamed on.
Yes, kind of thing,
That could
which is what
happen.
that kind of thing, which would be really nice. I'm excited to see the Fantastic Four villains.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping for some new head sculpts for the class, because the white and blue outfit is my favorite, and of course they've
Same.
gotten me to buy every single version
Right.
because I love the Fantastic Four. But the white and blue has always been my favorite, and so I'm excited to see what new things they've added
Yes.
to it, because Johnny Storm is not much new. It's the head that we've already gotten in a repainted body, so I'm really hoping that it's not just repaints.
I mean,
a
it would be
total
nice if we
repaint.
got some new for both he and Sue. New.
Yeah, new stuff for their powers, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
especially for the women. Like, can you give us new hands, please? Can you please give us some new psycho powers?
I'm so tired of this hand.
It's
It's
they're both
the finger straight out hand.
and there are two versions. It's like for a little while, it was like I didn't even notice that it was two different versions of this one kind of pose.
Mm-hmm.
There's no like, just flat out hand or like this.
No.
That would be cool.
Oh, I'd love to have that for like a Captain Marvel hand, like something cool like that would be great. A flat hand. Because the only flat hand we ever got is like Captain America's little saluting hand. I think that's the only and one
Namor.
for Namor has one, and Iron Fist has one. That might be.
Yeah,
and
I don't.
Shang-Chi, the comic version, came with one too, I think. Yeah, he might have come with one too.
Oh, there's another one. There's someone with white hands.
Oh yeah, maybe you're right. I need to go through my hands. I have a box of hands around here somewhere.
Contest. Whoever can figure out
who can find those hands. Yeah.
Hand.
But I've been cherry picking some lines. I've cherry picked a few of the I even forget the name of the line, but it's the little one where they're doing like the rock and roll figures, and that's like the Bandai, the offshoot.
Oh yeah.
One of Bandai's, whatever they call that line. It's got Napoleon Dynamite and Gandalf and all these things, and I've gotten a few of them.
Oh my gosh.
Like this Angus Young here from AC/DC, and I've got I also got Napoleon Dynamite, and they're really fun. Figures to play with.
Aren't they doing Beetlejuice? Is that
they're doing Beetlejuice and the cartoon Beetlejuice and some other ones. The face sculpts on a lot of them are horribly terrible. But they're sort of cartoony, which I don't mind.
That's retro.
It's a fun
like
little
nostalgia.
Yeah, they're kind of fun little lines, and they're $12. I mean, so they're like fun little figures. Like I said, I've been getting the Jurassic Park Legacy and Amber Collection figures. So I've got the Sam Jackson, of course, that's been out for a little bit, and I just last week got my John Hammond, and my Ellie should be here any moment. She's on the way.
Oh, Ricky's
should be here
like dying for that figure.
Yeah, the 6-inch should be here any moment. I've also gotten the newest of the G.I. Joe retro figures, the Walmart exclusive.
I cannot wait for. He's one of my favorite
Stalker, and this is the best Stalker they've ever made.
Yeah, I mean, he looks incredible.
I've had every Stalker they've ever made, and this is the best Stalker they've ever made. He's beautiful and lovely. The Cobra Trooper that comes with him is not the best Cobra Trooper they've made, but it's a fun cartoony Cobra figure. A lot of people hate it, but I actually think it's kind of fun. I may have 6 of them already.
Let me see the face. Do that closer.
So here for you, those of you not at home, Brian Charles Rooney is looking at the face. It's not great, and it's not really focusing for you.
The eyes are odd.
The eyes are a little weird, but it's the first Cobra Trooper that has hair with a removable helmet. I would have preferred if they used like the last version of Cobra Trooper they had done, but they're trying to emulate the box, and it's a totally new sculpt. I appreciated a new sculpt.
Right.
He's got he's actually not a bad. When you get a bunch of them together, which, like I said, I have 6 already, and 2 more are hanging at my Walmart that I can go get right now.
So those are really yours. They're just,
they're just sitting there waiting for me.
In absentia.
And by sitting, I mean hiding, waiting for me.
Right.
And the
that's terrible.
But they're a fun. How dare you?
They're underneath. They're underneath the when you look at the bottom shelf and you lift that thing up, they're in there.
But I mean,
It's a hiding place.
I was one of the early people to find these a few weeks ago when they first hit. That first day they hit, when everyone around the country was finding them, I
Right.
had found them right when they first happened. But the Stalker is beautiful. I'm really hoping they continue this line so I can get me a real cover girl. That's all I'm really hoping for.
Yeah.
Is it stays long enough to get me a cover girl? Because there's never been a good cover girl ever. And I'm really hoping for a good retro. I mean, I'd appreciate a classified cover girl, but I really want a great retro cover
Oh,
girl.
I'm assuming we'll get one from that line.
Yeah,
Um,
but I really need a good retro one. If you're listening, Hasbro, GI Joe people, which I know you are,
they're right here in this room.
they're in the room, but I
Under the
need a
table.
cover girl retro 3
Cover
3/4
girl.
figure, please, because all the ones you made have been trash, almost as bad as McFarlane Batman toys. Anyways, the
Cover girl.
Well,
Put
the good
the
thing
best
is
in
I've
your
never
life.
run out of toilet paper because the stores are stocked with DC McFarlane figures that
Well,
won't go away.
They
Also,
and the mini line, the other company, Spring. What is it called? It's terrible that I can't remember because I have all of them. The DC and Batman specific, small, like 3 3/4 inch line.
Oh yeah. That's Mattel. That's
I
Mattel.
can No, it's not. It's another company. It's like
no, it's Spin
Master. I was
Spin
thinking
Masters, that's right.
Spring Master. Like, that's not what it is.
Those Happy Meal toys.
They're fun though. I mean, like, they were Fast and Furious, and now there's like Mr. Freeze. He's like the one new figure.
Yes. No, they had
He doesn't change color, which is a terribly lost opportunity.
Yeah, no, I've seen a million of them. I also have gotten the retro Mandalorian figures from the vintage line, like this one right here.
Those look really fun.
And they're fun little figures. I got that wave. That was a fun wave. I've also been cherry picking the Star Wars figures, the stuff from the Mandalorian, the black stuff from the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Vintage style.
Although,
and 6 style.
I did order this because I just wanted her.
What is it?
This came today too.
Whatever her name is, yeah.
Asajj Ventress.
She's a really neat looking figure. I saw her when she came out. She's a really nice looking figure. They've actually been making some really nice Black Series figures lately. I just stopped collecting that line as well, just because there was just too much. How much of this can I have?
Right. I mean, that I'm kind of nearing my end. Like, there are only a few more that I need a Bespin gown Leia. I need some version of Queen Amidala in some kind of costume.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of done.
Yeah.
I think.
I feel like if they made, I don't know. I'm trying my best to only stay a Wicket. Yeah. I mean, I try to only stay in the Mandalorian realm right now, which I have whatever the newest. I've got all whatever the Mandalorian figures that are out. Bo-Katan.
Same. This figure makes me laugh because I think he's a great actor and I like the character, but he just
Giancarlo Esposito.
He doesn't look like an action figure. It looks like a real person dressed as an action figure. It's really strange.
It looks like an old man in cosplay.
Yes, it's really weird.
Man. He's been making movies since we were little children and doing theater. Well, before that, doing Broadway and off Broadway before that. But I mean, he's in like the original version of so many plays from like the 70s and 80s. When you look in the original casts,
I'm a little disappointed by his saber. I feel like they could have done
dark
something.
Saber is not great. I feel like they could have done a much better job. It's literally
painted. I feel like they could have done something with translucent glitter plastic or something. I don't know. It's just not exciting.
No, it is not exciting. But the only other thing we've gotten is some Legos. We've been getting the new Lego Harry Potter stuff that just came out. I got Brooke for our housewarming present. I got her the Friends adjoining apartment set where it's the boss and whatever. I'm not a Friends fan.
Cool.
The one people's apartment on the girls' apartment on one side, the boys' apartment on the other.
That's fun.
And so that was her housewarming present. She's only built one of the apartments, 7-month-old. She hasn't been able to build the rest of it.
Before the 9-month mark is when you realize that you did have the time, sort of, but you spent so much energy worrying, which is natural. It's completely, you're supposed to.
Given him sleeping, we're just staring at the monitor.
Right. And I started realizing I could put him in the swing and have him take his nap on the lowest setting and go take a shower. It was like a big deal.
Yeah, So no, that is a big deal.
And then you realize that going forward, you get less and less time, and then they go to school, and then you get some time back.
Right.
A little bit.
A tiny bit. Yeah.
So that's a nice thing. But then also you get to that point and you're like, I want them home. Like,
Right.
I don't, he goes to school and I'm like, no, I want to teach you things. And, it's, and I think it's relevant to talk about them because it's a toy podcast.
It
I
is,
know
and
it's for, for adults, but
but every time I bring my son into this toy room and he
oh my
loves
God,
it, I
yes.
say these are all yours. Anytime you want to start playing with these,
Mm-hmm.
they're yours to play with.
Yeah, I think that's a good attitude. That's kind of that's
Like
I
when
told
he's
him in
ready to
another
play with Marvel Legends, there you go. You want to play with
right.
GI Joes? Here you go. I got 350 little ones and an aircraft carrier. Have a great time.
Have a good time.
You know?
And don't tell any other children. Like
Totally.
it's a secret. Yeah, I think that attitude is great because that's the attitude I had, that we come in here and you just be
Yeah.
careful, just ask. There's a
Yeah,
few
just
that
don't,
you can't touch.
yeah, there's a few things that I don't want broken, but I will
Yeah,
put those on the top shelf.
right.
But other than that, I mean, 98% of the stuff in this room can be played with by a 5 and 6-year-old,
Right.
and older. Enjoy. The rest of it's just he's going to swallow it and die, so he's not going to get it for a little while. But
Yeah, I had a realization that he's been in here because I have a lock on it. I put one in, but I don't
yeah,
usually lock it.
yeah.
I think he's been in here playing, and I've not
Mhm.
realized it because I bought him Origins Triclops, and I
Yeah.
just decided to give it to him early. It was for his birthday, and I was like,
Yeah.
he did something really nice, and I gave it to him. He's like, I already have this, and I was like, I'm thinking to myself, I had a stroke, and I don't remember buying it for you. And I'm like, no, that's mine. I said, what are you talking about? And he's like, no, I have this one. And I said, no, you don't. I said, wait a minute. So I start looking through Amazon. No, I looked through, like, no, Big Bad Toy Store. This is where it came from. And then I have mine from Amazon. And I was like, no, this is the one. And so he's looking at me completely confused. I said, are you just thinking the one in the toy room are you just thinking about that one? And then he didn't say anything, and I was like, "You little sneak! You've been in there playing, and I have no idea." And I think back, and I'm like, "Yeah, there's some things that were moved around, and I didn't think, like Glimmer from the new She-Ra show, which he likes, Glimmer especially for some reason. That doll was on the floor, and nothing else had fallen over." And then I noticed that one of the horses from She-Ra was on the floor too, and I think he probably took that down and put her on it.
How
And
dare
then
he use
no,
toys to play
well,
with?
that glimmer doll was like no
know,
money. It's
$6
like
million.
$100 now
I know,
for some
she's
reason.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
but it was
but
cute.
that's my
I liked it.
attitude. Is if he likes the property, and I show him the property and the cartoons and things.
Right.
Have great. You want to pull those Origins, all that He-Man crap down? Have a great time. You want to
That's
pull
been
those old
fun.
vintage Disney toys down? Have a great time. You want to put The Simpsons? He loves The Simpsons right now, and if he continues to love it, have a great time.
Oh, that's nice that a kid is liking that show, because that show brought me
he's
so
7
much
months old.
happiness.
He loves watching it with me. We watch it all the time. He loves watching it with me. He's not he'll watch TV a little bit, but he's not a huge fan of it. We try our best not to shove a phone in his face anywhere we go.
Yeah, don't.
He's not like
I mean,
to looking at, like, he always has to be looking at something. We barely put it, because we barely watch TV too.
right.
Like, I'm still missing my Loki episode, the last 2 Loki episodes.
I've watched the first 3.
Yeah, that's all.
There's 2 more now.
2 more. Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it tonight.
One. Yeah, we need to watch some, but I mean, we're very slow on watching TV since he's been born. I mean, I've seen the Marvel shows and stuff like that, but
right.
really not watched anything else at all. And I haven't sat down and watched a movie in a long time. We really haven't done much of that stuff. I mean, I am gonna sit down and watch Black Widow at the movie theater, if like at 11 o'clock in the morning when nobody's there.
We have a theater that's actually really nice. That's like it's like that all the time. Like there's not
great.
Well, people go like Friday night, Saturday night, but we're like,
Sure.
we don't need to do that. We'll go Thursday night, and there's like
I'll
four,
go on a
4
Tuesday.
people
I'm
there.
off right now. I'm off till August 16th, so it's like, well, I mean, sort of doing
Right.
a festival, but I mean, I'm technically off till August 16th, so it's like I'll just go when I'll go sometime next week during the day when it's around.
That'll be fun, actually.
It's a tiny little small town. It's a tiny little small town, and there's one tiny little movie theater and a little tiny parking lot.
Do they have Cruella?
I think so.
Go see it.
Yeah, my
It's
wife's dying to see it.
excellent.
She's been dying to see it. So
I was surprised. I mean, I expected it to be good. I like Emma Stone a lot. It looked visually really nice. It's visually 10 times better than even the trailer suggests.
cool.
It's
I'm excited. She's dying to see it.
It's very good.
And we finally found a good babysitter and things, so we're
good.
Like today, I made her leave the house and let's go because it's her week off this week.
Right.
And I was like, we're leaving the house and we're going to do stuff.
You have to, and it's hard.
You gotta have time for yourself now that he's just old enough to not be a burden every second, or not a burden, but not to be needed every second of the day.
Right. And it'll be good for him because that, that separation anxiety, especially if you aren't going to, like some parents do, throw toys at them to make them stop crying or promise them rewards that way.
Oh, no. We're just like, see ya, we'll be back.
Right.
See you later. And we barely even say goodbye. It's like, see you later,
Right. That's good for him.
And he loves people. He loves being around people. But the main thing is he loves toys. Just like Daddy, he loves his toys. And he's a big fan of toys. His favorite thing he plays with right now is a Wonder Woman Fisher Price Little People figure.
Oh, that was Christian's first superhero.
Little people.
Yeah, the little people with the invisible jet.
Yep, he loves that Fisher Price Wonder Woman. Crazy about her. Good choice.
Yes.
His grandmother was here and he was playing with it and he goes, she was always the most beautiful anyway. What a great choice.
Because that's what matters.
Because that's what
women should be.
But,
beautiful.
Oh, you bet. Of course. I don't want to see any that aren't.
Oh,
no,
God.
that's
put them out. Now that's a nice swerve into what I really wanted to talk about today.
Well, we've already talked for an hour, so I'm going to give you 10 more minutes because I don't want to make this podcast too long.
We can't market this to the Masters of the Universe throngs unless we talk about this.
We can. So let's.
We can. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Everyone knows Netflix is maybe not everybody, but Netflix is doing 2 new Masters of the Universe cartoons. There's like the new kind of 2000X meets Ben 10 style-ish. That's a stretch. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. That's not out yet. There is Masters of the Universe Revelation, which with writing by a good friend of this
guest
podcast.
Of ours,
yes.
A good friend of the podcast, Tim Sheridan, is a writer on that show.
Produced by another friend of ours, Ted Biaselli, who has not been on the show. I
don't know why, because he's a busy man, but that is a toy collector right there. Let me tell you, he's got some toys.
But he, I actually should ask him if he can come on and we can talk more thoroughly about this particular issue. There's been an influx of collectors, and my friend Aaron thinks it's because of the affordability of Origins and the fact that they were initially at Walmart, which opened that property up, reopened it perhaps to a whole demographic of people that were probably not on board for classics. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone who is of a more conservative mind is poor and shopping at Walmart.
Walmart just happens to be the store that's everywhere.
Yes. However,
it's the only store in this town.
Masters of the Universe fans, the fandom, has largely been extremely open-minded, very kind.
Mm-hmm.
We get in little bickering things about super nerd topics, but like, blonde Tila or redheaded Tila. Is He-Man the only He-Man there ever was? Or, is Skeletor really a Keldor character, this guy Keldor, or is it just he's this demon from Infinita? Those are the arguments that happen.
Sorry, I just fell asleep. What were you talking about?
It's not things that are well above your pay grade. I'm sorry, but so we don't talk about, and we don't have a problem with the fact that someone's not white, that they're not heterosexual or whatever, like any number of things. You have a huge fandom that appreciates really interesting female characters, strong female characters, flawed female characters in some cases, and that has been challenged in the last couple of months. Like with this Kevin Smith show coming, there's been like Clownfish and a couple other sites. I don't even want to talk about them because I don't want anyone to click on these articles. No. But there was an article out like 2 days ago, and it was on Google or Yahoo or Google's kind of like recommended list. And I thought, this is terrible. And I read through it, knowing Ted and knowing enough about what's been going on. It was 98% fake and false.
It was horrible. It was nonsense. Yeah.
Because they have turned the character King Grayskull from the 2000X cartoon, who was in one episode and who has maybe been in 2 or 3 comic books since then as a plot device. Yeah. They retrofitted him in the classics line as the spirit of Grayskull. Like the ghost is this person. And it's a cool character. They could do a lot of things with it, and they are in Revelations. He has black skin or brown, dark brown skin, and it's far more exciting and interesting a design than the previous one to me.
Which was old white man with a beard.
It was like He-Man in like Dungeons and Dragons cosplay. Like it was not interesting at all. And I thought, this is so much cooler. I want a classics figure of this. So I'm in the midst of making one, but it's people are like, He-Man's black, his granddad is black. It's like, well, he's not his granddad. There's 5,000 years ago, so there's that. And also,
I think a lot of people be surprised to how what their lineage might be, particularly people from this country.
Right.
You may be real surprised at what your lineage may be.
You might be some,
might need
Caribbean,
to be,
some West African.
All of us are some mix of something from all over at this point in human history. So what do you care?
I mean, I have Mongolian in my family, and that's, that's from the Ukrainian side. So it's like people need to stop being so closed-minded, and I don't know why they care.
That's my main problem. I read that article, and it was basically like, He-Man's black, and Ted's an idiot, and Howdy said black people are stupid. And I was like, what are you talking about? It was the dumbest thing I've ever read. It was the most lazily written thing also I've ever read.
It was terrible. It was
most
like
things written for the internet. It was so stupid, and it was like the dumbest topic. I'm like, why is it even a question? Who cares?
Right. I mean,
who some ancestor was about anything. If he was a woman, would that make a difference? If they had made it a female, or if they had made it
that's the
alien.
other problem. You have Teela. There's a thing that says like, oh, in these first episodes that we're revealing of this entire series, you have Teela and Evelyn as kind of the leads of the adventure, and we're not told why.
Yeah.
But apparently that people have. I mean, they're both lead characters. They've always been heavily featured.
Teela's been in every episode of Masters.
Right. They're both the most. I mean, Evelyn, in my opinion, is like the Wolverine of Masters of the Universe.
Oh yeah,
she's the coolest character in the entire property. Like I don't, and I don't understand why people would have a problem exploring them more. But they've kind of drawn the conclusion that Teela is now going to be the next He-Man, and I'm like, why? Because, or that she cut her hair, so now she's a lesbian and she's having an affair with this character, Lieutenant Andra, who was in like 2 pages of a Star comic from Masters of the Universe in the 80s, who was white then and now is not, and that's another thing that made the Earth shatter and break apart.
Yeah, this whole having everything has to be like the original, or has to be like the original, even if it was 1 page of something, it has to be like the whining about that they're not going to use the name of Boba Fett's ship anymore.
Right.
That happened about a week ago.
Like if anyone
Disney
had said, if
no
one had said anything, no one would know.
Nobody said anything. And here's the thing. Who cares, number one, about some dumb ship from 50 years ago?
Right.
And who cares that Disney has, like, people are like, it's censorship. I'm like, do you not understand what censorship is?
Right.
Disney is not censoring the name because it's not cancel culture. They're not canceling anything. They are choosing to change their property in a way that suits them best, something they own, they paid $5 billion for.
Right.
They are choosing to just call it Boba Fett's ship.
Right.
But you had 6 years of it being called Slave One, and they're not going back in time and taking the packaging.
Well, and it's only on that Lego box, so far.
And it's been on every other box ever, and those boxes still exist. They didn't take them away. It hasn't been canceled. It can still be Slave One in your house. If you want to fly around with Slave One in your house and you want to play with it and you say, Slave One, let's go. You know what I mean? If that's your thing. Right. It's not censorship. It's not cancel culture. It is someone that owns a property that is choosing to not use a certain word any longer.
Right.
I just did a play, Shakespeare play, Much Ado About Nothing, and he calls one of the people...
Appropriate.
He calls one of the people who are the bad guys in the play a slave.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided not to use that word.
Right.
Just because I don't usually change Shakespeare. I cut things out, but I don't really change any word. And I just changed it to the next word in the sentence, which was, I didn't even know what knave. I think we changed it to knave, which is like he calls him like you knave, you slave, something like that. It's one of those Shakespeare alliterations. And we just cut the word slave. Okay.
Right.
It doesn't mean the word slave doesn't exist. Doesn't mean there aren't still slaves in culture. There are millions of people enslaved as we speak right this moment all over the world. It doesn't mean they're
figuratively and literally.
Yes,
I mean,
yes. And they're not canceling your childhood because they've chosen to just
we cut Tila's hair.
They cut Tila's hair, so they've destroyed your childhood. I'm like, this is a different property 35, 40 years after the original. It's going to be different.
Well, and there's no explanation yet as to why that's happened.
I don't even know why. I mean, we can maybe call Tim on the phone, phone a friend right now and ask, but he couldn't tell us because he's under contract.
He'd tell us maybe, but he won't.
But he wouldn't tell us. But he would, but he wouldn't tell us.
I mean, I know why. I know why for other reasons. But anyway.
But why does anyone care? Like, watch the show and then decide for yourself.
Well, they care because
it's not white.
They care. To be white. They care because it's not a turn on for some of them. Like, this has literally been the thing. They like, because I'm like, well, Eva Lynn's hair is long now. Does that bother you? No.
Cut hair, yeah.
Right. Her hair is long. Okay, and it's like, well, but it's Tila. That's that was my first crush. That's, and I literally had a discussion. I made a joke. I said, I'm thoroughly enjoying the fact that all of these men, and it's always men, are having such a, crisis because Tila cut her hair and has bigger guns than you'll ever have. I'm like, so, the captain of the guard, who probably should be able to kick your ass, who noticeably doesn't have those arms in the first scenes we've seen, but does later, after how much time? We don't know yet, when she's in, adventure gear. So she's clearly done something and left and felt angry that she was not in the loop with her best friend, future husband. That's a lot. That's a lot to deal with. So are you not going to at least consider that and think, oh, maybe she had to get this buff for something. Maybe she's a renegade. Maybe she's, a killer for hire, and she's trying to, survive. I mean, who knows? She might be the bad guy. We don't even know. I mean, that's what I don't understand.
Who cares? And it's a fictional character. Well, who cares?
I mean, that's the thing.
Their interpretation is you like it or you don't. I mean, that's okay.
I think a lot of them just wanted more. It's like they just wanted more episodes of Filmation, which would be great, but with adult flavor. And I don't know why that's interesting. I mean, no.
We are different people than we were then. I watched those old Filmations episodes and I find them very cringy. But at the time, as a kid, I absolutely loved them. I loved them.
Yes.
Now I find them very elementary, and I have a hard time watching them. Like G.I. Joe, Transformers, I can watch those all day long. Masters Universe, because it's not my favorite, I have a rough time. But I'll be happy to show it to my son and share it with him and things. But but I'd rather show him this because it's his time period and there's toys for it. And I'd almost rather show him this and let it be his thing as opposed to having to be my thing.
I would recommend having him watch Filmation because I'm convinced that all of those morals and the things that were kind of at the heart of each episode really do have a positive effect on people.
Oh, I agree. I mean,
he'll be younger, so you can show him that first because I think this later one's going to be a little heavier
for adults and things.
Yeah.
But why does everyone get so mad about everything? Like people whining about Snake Eyes not being white. I'm like, he's British.
Well, you know what? I never realized
some Asian origins. Like, who cares?
I thought he was Asian. I just assumed he was. I don't know why. I just did.
Guy, that went to Vietnam and all. But I mean, that's the old canon. I mean, Vietnam does not resonate nowadays. No. It did with our generation and my parents' generation, but it doesn't resonate. You have to update things and change. And as long as he's an outsider, which is what the character's written as, is an outsider everywhere. Even with his team, he's a little weird. He's the outsider ninja guy that can't talk. And then he's not wearing his mask enough in the trailer. I'm like, that says origins. How does he lose his speech?
Right.
When Storm Shadow cuts his throat or Sartan shoots him, whatever happens.
Right.
There's different versions.
It's just mental.
Or it's that, which would be really cool.
I've always thought it was that.
And I mean, in the comics, in the original, his mouth got shot off in Vietnam or something, had an accident, and then the later cartoons, like gets his slit throat from storm shadow. It's all kinds of nonsense.
Uh,
But
not
I would
fun.
prefer it if it was because it looks like a fun, cheesy movie. It's a summer
Yes.
movie. It's
And
supposed
it
to be
has like
fun and
super
cheesy.
awesome
We
characters
get
in
to
it
get
so
we get to
far.
get G.I. Joe Origin, Snake Eyes, and Shang-Chi. We get like 2 old school kung fu movies in one summer with the hundreds of $1 million budget. I mean, this is a good time to be alive, people. What are you whining about? Like, let people
That's really
that
the issue.
love the property have fun with it.
Yeah.
You
Why
know?
are you so angry?
Yeah, like the previous G.I. Joe films were pretty terrible. Because
Yeah.
and I met the people that made them. They didn't love the property. They didn't care about it. But the people
Right.
that do that stuff now, like our friends that do a lot of this stuff, and they actually love those properties, which is a good and a
Yeah.
bad thing sometimes. But I mean, they understand and they're trying to continue to tell that story and keep the story resonant,
Yeah.
keep it as myth in our culture, and I think that's exciting to reinvent it and
I do
reinvent that.
too. I mean, it's reminding me a bit of there was this book, Masters of the Universe Berg, The Sunbird Legacy. It was kind of a standalone, large comic, um, and I've always wished that they'd made a movie, like how DC makes these kind of standalones,
We do.
just one-offs or whatever,
Our
lots
friend
of
Tim
them.
writes those all day long.
Yes, I mean the Long Halloween is amazing.
Yeah,
So
it's out
like
right now. Go watch it, and
it's
the
so
new one
good.
comes out soon. Part 2 comes out soon, so make sure you're watching that.
But I wish that, and maybe they will. Maybe they'll do this. It would be really nice. It's a cool story. It has a lot of, real good feature for all the main characters. But it's like, I don't, there are things in it that are different, that
Mm-hmm.
aren't exactly like Filmation or not exactly like, any of the newer kind of incarnations. And
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's something I love about Masters of the Universe. It's been told in a lot of different ways, and
Mm-hmm.
I can have those realities when I'm thinking about my toys or positioning them on a shelf or playing with them with my son or me
Mm-hmm.
myself. Like I can have Teal be blonde one day and be the kind of split version of the goddess, and the snake armor lady is the sorceress, and then they get together and they're the goddess again. Like that's one day, and the next day she's back to redheaded captain of the guard with a sassy mouth.
Yep.
Like I like that versatility. I
So
don't
do I.
understand why. I do understand it, but the idea that someone was trying to tell me that because she's athletic, because her hair is short, she is no longer feminine and no longer valid as a character.
Right, which is
literally saying
that misogyny
valid.
Is yes, that's insane. I mean, that's just that misogyny that just continues to dominate and destroy and create unhealthy everything, and that's a whole nother podcast.
Yes.
But so tell me before we wrap up here, and we'll talk more about that. Maybe we can get Ted on or Tim back on to talk about that stuff when the show comes out, and we can talk about the new toys and things, because I know they're hitting right now.
Yes,
the new Revelations toys. I didn't see. Went looking for them today, but I didn't see them because I wanted to see if they were out.
I did
but they are not out in this area yet. But if I see them, I will let you know. But just to wrap up with our listeners here at the almost 80-minute mark. Let's tell me what you're most interested. What's on pre-order? What do you have that's coming out in the next month or two that you're most excited about?
My light's not turning on. Oh well, I'm in the dark now. Hi,
that's
I
okay.
look better. I'm excited. I want my next waves of Turtles from Super 7.
Okay.
I want Michelangelo and April and Rocksteady and Metalhead. Really good wave.
That sounds right. Yeah, it is.
I mean, that's exciting. And wave 3 of Thundercats, because wave 2 got delayed because they had to remake them all, because of various problems with that factory, which is Jaga and Chitara and Slythe and the peg leg pirate guy. I can't remember.
What is his name? I can't remember.
I'm such a casual Thundercats fan.
So am I. That's why I didn't ever order any of them.
I mean, I probably will end up trading that figure for something else because I don't know him. But yeah, those are the two I'm really excited about. I'm excited about the G.I. Joe Trooper coming.
He is really the Trooper is the best figure in the entire line,
I mean,
which
the
is
one
why
I
Major
have
Blood,
is great.
is so cool because he's a repainted version of that Trooper,
Right.
with some new armor and a new head. But the Trooper is by far the best figure in the entire
I'm
line, and
I'm loving Lady J. I think she's
she's
fantastic.
really great. Actually, the face, okay. I do love the figure
It's
though.
what's her
I
face?
love
It's
the figure.
Lisa
It
Rinna from
does. It
Housewives.
does look like her, but
It's
the
funny.
her mixed with a Velociraptor. But the
Oh my
it is a
God.
beautifully done female figure.
Yeah.
My
I mean,
God, it's an
she's
incredible
really, it's a
figure.
real nice homage to the old.
I'm
Yeah.
really excited about Breaker and Barbecue,
Oh,
and
oh my God,
I can't
that
wait for
cycle
those. That cycle, oh
from
my God, the Australia looks incredible. I can't wait to see it. People are just trickling it out of Asia right now, so it should be here soon. Um, the thing I'm
yeah.
most excited about is a couple of Marvel Select items. They're doing the old school looking Titanium Man. That's one of their big
Oh,
figures that fits with Marvel Legends.
that's
It looks really
exciting.
cool. And also, they're finally, after what, 8-10 years, finally reissuing the Watcher.
Oh,
Because he's been, $200 for the last whatever. And when he came out back in like 2010, 11, 12, whenever it was, a long time ago, I could never find him. I was in LA and it was impossible to find him at the store.
oh,
That
yeah.
was the days before we ordered things online and stuff all the time. And it was impossible to find, and I never found one. And it's such a great figure, fits perfectly with Marvel Legends.
Not even at
It's
like
one of my,
Frankensons or something.
no, even then they were $1 million, and I
Oh,
never found
oh,
one.
right.
And I've been wanting to get one for many years, and it's been $150, $200, $250 because I mean, he's one of the mainstays of Marvel culture and Marvel universe. I mean, in the new What If trailer, he's the person at the very top of the image because the Watchers, I mean, that's what it's all
Yes.
about.
Yeah.
And he's the one that always introduced the What If stuff, and I always loved What If. So I'm excited about
Oh
that
my
show.
God, I totally forgot
And
about that.
yeah, the trailer came out today. It looks amazing. Looks like, and I love What If stuff. But the Watcher figure's finally coming out this fall as a reissue, and I couldn't be more excited about finally getting that figure after all these years. And that's the thing, guys. Patience. You gotta have patience.
No,
If you
that's
couldn't
true.
get
I
your
mean,
Major Blood in the first week, well, a lot of people like Major Blood, and a lot of people like really neat. And these are the greatest 6-inch figures ever made. There's a lot of people are into it. Even a lot of casual people are into it just because they're awesome toys. If you couldn't get it the first week, well, you had to wait a month, and then you could have gotten it easily on Hasbro Pulse or easily on Target.com or easily seen it at Target when they put a flood of them out there.
well, but
Um,
the
you know,
previous ones, I think
the
Hasbro did a good
previous
job
ones
of
I
kind of
understand,
re
you know,
finagling that contract they have with Target,
mhm. And they
and
did,
Target,
and it took a little while for you to get the Baroness and for you to get them, but you know what? You're going to get them now. So
right.
it's
Yeah, mine shipped. They're already coming.
yes,
Like it was last
good
night. They're
things
already
come
coming.
to those who wait, and it may take you 10 years to get that figure you always wanted, but you will get it. And we are in the golden age. So enjoy it. Stop whining.
Oh,
I had to unfollow almost all the toy groups I'm in because it's
oh my God,
nothing but bitching and
horrible.
whining. And I was like, I can't
It's
even deal with.
horrible.
We're in the ultimate golden age of toys, and I couldn't be happier. I could buy a new toy almost every day of the week right now,
Yeah,
and
if you wanted to, yeah.
if I wanted to, and it's just unbelievable and exciting, and enjoy it. Don't. Why are you fretting about
Yeah,
plastic?
take pictures of your figures and post them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did that in the Origins,
Mm-hmm.
specifically Origins group, and like,
Yeah.
the same people that normally do, my friends, people that I know, people that
Yeah.
I haven't met in person but have known for years
Yeah.
because of these fan groups, they all loved it, but
Mm-hmm.
they didn't get nearly as much attention as the argument about,
Yep.
um
Stupid toys.
Fisto's missing sideburn. And it was like,
Right.
which
My
is sad, but
God.
I was like,
It's a $12
really?
toy. I
Right.
mean, at
Make
the
your
end of
own.
the day, you have a classics version that's the ultimate version of Fisto.
Right.
The Origins toys, not really the one for you. That's meant for
Right.
not necessarily for you.
Well,
Um,
are there any children buying this line?
Absolutely
Probably
not.
not.
Absolutely not.
They're
Um,
playing with it because their parents are buying it, which is
That is very
fine.
true. But we are very happy to be back with you. Please follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram. We use our Instagram the most, and we need more followers. So get on there. If you'd
Yeah.
like to give us 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, any of the places you get your podcast, or leave us a review, we would be more than happy with that. That helps us out in Iceland and Germany.
Yes.
In England. We've been the #1 hobby podcast in several different small countries, which is pretty exciting when we put a new episode out. And we're in the top 10 in a lot of places when we put out new episodes all over the world. We're listened to in over 55 countries, which is pretty insane.
Did you know there were 55 countries? I mean,
There's
I just
more.
thought
There's a
there was
lot more than
the
that.
United
I
States,
want
Russia,
160
China, and
countries. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of countries.
Japan.
But what I
Just
love
kidding.
about one of the things I love about the internet and love about doing this show is that we can reach out to people all over the world and converse with people all over the
Yeah.
world and
Really
make
cool.
fun of McFarlane DC Toys all over the world. And I hope that everyone is still doing well.
Can we
And
please get a Catwoman, please?
oh god,
Anyway.
still doing well and still getting the toys you want because
Yes.
we're living in a great age, and it's not going to last forever because we're going to grow up and people will move on.
Grow up.
Things will move on to other places.
Who are you? You have a child and suddenly you're talking responsibly.
No, I mean
Go
the
away.
industry itself will grow up,
I
and
know.
we will, like, by the time we hit our 60s, this stuff will probably be gone.
Yeah.
Toys will probably not much exist anymore, and so enjoy it while you got it, and hoard as much as you can. Brian Charles, from you,
and send us your messages on Instagram. We do read them. We've interacted with many of you. It's been great.
Yes.
I get messages on Facebook as well, and I have a couple questions listed that we're gonna talk about in the next couple.
But we will do an episode soon. We'll do another one very soon so that we can start restarting this podcast. So I hope you get to do some theater soon and your union lets you do it. I'm fighting with your union right now to do a theater festival in August, and we shall see what happens. So
yes,
we will talk to you guys soon. Bye.